Edenton Town Council special meeting and committee meetings for June 22nd, 2026 to order. The first order of business is a public hearing on the budget. We've got another public hearing later on a land use matter. This is related to the budget only, and I think, Hal, you signed up for that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, come forward.
Thank you.
And I will so open that public hearing. Okay.
Name's Hal Murray, West Queen Street. I was wondering if you could tell me the ramifications of Bill 474, something about taking you back to some previous year for the property assessment, and it wasn't clear to me what year we would go back to in terms of calculating what I actually paid. So it's sort of an interesting point. You talk about the tax assessment, but then you also talk about the percentage on 100, but the bottom line is, what do I got to pay? And I can't quite figure that out.
Yeah, that's a great question, and if I make any misstatements, Corey, you've been on top of this, and I'll ask that you step in if I do make any mistakes. But Senate Bill 474 would take Chowan County and 8 other counties, and in layman's terms, the best I can describe it, put a moratorium on the reevaluation rates that we just received,
Yes.
and take us back to next year rates, which is gonna, last year's
So we
rates.
take you back to last
Year's rates.
Okay, that was the missing part.
Last year's
Values, yeah, not rates, excuse me, Hal, values.
Last year's
Yeah.
value. Okay. I had one other point, if I may.
Yeah, please go forward.
The town contributes $250,000 to Main Street. And this is a 501c3, and when that money goes to Main Street, because it is a 501c3, the town loses accountability and transparency as to what's done with that money. And I'd like to know, for instance, I don't know what percentage of that fund is paid in compensation to who. We don't know dollars spent where or what. And I guess in the spirit of accountability and transparency, I would request that Main Street publish a budget and post it monthly finances and both income, expenses, and investors associated with that. That would be my request.
Okay. Thank you, Hal.
Thank you, sir.
Is that Hal, much like we do at our regular meetings where we have public comment and then we follow up with the manager's report, that'll be handled in that fashion.
Right.
Okay.
You were able to explain in layman's terms 450,
Yes.
474 general.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you, Hal. All right, and that will now close the public hearing as it relates to the budget, and thank you, Hal, for being here tonight. Next matter of business, we have a rezoning application for case number RZ-26-01. The applicant is Bradley Schlosser, and he is requesting to rezone 213 Tyler Lane and 308 Old Hertford Road. And those addresses contain the current Tyler Run Phase 1 and Phase 2. And the request is to rezone that from R10 to R5 so that people better understand what we're actually looking at. This is more an administrative matter than any other, and probably should have been handled 30, 35, 40 years ago, as long as those Tyler Run apartments have been there. Technically, they should have been R5 since the very beginning. Is that correct? And they're not, because R10 only does not allow multifamily developments like this one. So with that preamble, Dwayne, I'm going to ask that you come forward and present a staff report on that.
And we do have a representative from the Transcend Group who's owner of the property. So you explained it very well. This new ownership has come in and has put a substantial amount of money into this apartment complex. I'll try to speak slower tonight so everybody can understand me. So this is basically cleaning up the zoning map, taking it from R10, which doesn't allow multifamily, to R5, so they can make all the necessary improvements, and I'll let him explain what they're doing there. But Yeah, this is for 213 Tyler Lane and 303 Old Hertford Road, as the addresses are in GIS. So the R5, R10, R14, and our land use plan are considered medium to high density residential. So there will be no incompatibility with the land use plan when it comes to this rezoning. It operates, the medium-high residential classification occupies 20%. It will stay within that 20% that's already allotted. Let's see. Yeah, the R5 district is established as a district in which to allow primary single-family, two-family, and multifamily residences. Trying to see what else pertains to this. The request rezone from R10 to R5. The applicant seeks rezoning for the purposes of using the existing apartment complex for its intended purposes. The property is currently zoned R10 and does not allow for multifamily residences. In the packet you see the two properties in question from the current zoning map. The proposed zoning results in no change to either existing or future land use classifications for this property. The next page you see an aerial map showing the layout of the property, and on the following you will see the future land use map, which shows the colorations stating that it is within that medium high density residential. So staff has determined that the application for a zoning map amendment is complete and is compatible with the 2018 Edenton land use plan, and that the rezoning will result in no inconsistency with the existing and future land use classifications of medium-high density residential for the subject property, and that it meets the requirements of the town of Edenton's UDO. The town of Edenton's planning board reviewed this application at their June 1st, 2026 meeting and unanimously recommended approval. So tonight would basically be, the council, if you decide to approve, would be a plan consistency statement. So when adopting or rejecting any rezoning text or map amendment, the town council shall approve a brief statement describing whether his action is consistent or inconsistent with adopted comprehensive plan. And this can be issued within a single statement. Statement of reasonableness and the plan consistency statement required by the section may be approved as a single statement. So that's basically it in a nutshell. Yes, sir.
Would that mean that the whole community be a 5 zone now instead of a 10 like it was?
Yeah, so both properties would be moved from R10 to R5. It's all residential and it's all within that medium to high density residential. This just, in our permissible use table, R10 doesn't allow for multifamily dwelling units, so it creates a non-conformity. So with this rezoning, we're correcting that non-conformity, and it's going to be a conforming property. Nothing around the property is subject to any of this, and it's my understanding that it will continue to operate as affordable housing in its current state. Just if they decided to add a building or do any type of huge major remodels, it could subject them to future planning board action or anything, which it would be inconsistent with their zoning, so they wouldn't be allowed to. So this is basically cleaning up the zoning map to make it permissible to be in conformity.
So this is just for the apartment complex?
That's it. Yeah, those two properties that are labeled in the application, which are identified as the Tyler Run 1 and Tyler Run 2. So this is just for that property, nothing surrounded it. I think everything surrounded it is either, I think there was some R20, which is farmland, R10, which is residential, and some R5 lots that it would be consistent with what's there already. Yes.
Any more questions of staff? Thank you, Dwayne. Would you like to come forward and make any statements to add to what Mr. Williams said?
Absolutely.
Yeah, please come forward and just state your name and let us know what you'd like us to hear.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Peter Wallace. I work for the Transcend Group. We're an affordable housing owner and developer. We specialize in acquiring properties like Tyler Run 1 and 2, renovating them, and then maintaining them and keeping them as affordable multifamily for the long term. I really don't have too much to add to what Dwayne mentioned in his staff report, other than I just want to make myself available to any questions. To be honest with you, we're not looking to add any units. We're looking to do a comprehensive renovation of the property. The only new structure that we're examining the feasibility of adding right now is there's a leasing office, and we're looking to expand that to provide a community room with a community kitchen and an exercise area and also a business center for the benefit of the people who live there today.
Any questions? Belton, do you have any?
Will the rent go down any?
What the residents, so this property, so it operates like one property. It was built in 2 phases. The first phase receives rent subsidy from HUD. The second phase receives rent subsidy from USDA. So what the residents pay today is not expected to change. It's based on a percentage of their income. And then the subsidy that's provided by the federal government will increase so that we can leverage private capital in order to do the comprehensive renovation.
So the rent that the residents pay is based on USDA guidelines and HUD guidelines tied to their income.
That's correct. So
You guys can't change that.
and we have no interest in it.
Yeah.
I know there are some plans for some extensive renovation, but so there's no plans in the future at all to, I guess, convert from affordable housing to traditional conventional housing?
Not at all. That is not what we do.
Okay, any more questions? All right, thank you very much.
Thank
Thank you for taking time to be here
My pleasure.
and answer our questions. Next, I'd like to open the public hearing that is limited to this particular issue. I will open the public hearing. Are there any residents in attendance tonight that would like to be heard regarding this proposal to change the zoning from R10 to R5? There appearing to be none, I will close the public hearing, and now we'll move to town council questions, answers, and deliberation. Has everybody answered or asked all the questions that they intended to ask? Okay. At this point in time, as you recall, anytime that we consider rezoning, we have to go through 4 different questions and then answer the ultimate question of whether we grant approval to the requested change. The first question that we would have to answer was regarding public health or safety. At this time, I would entertain a motion that the proposed change will not endanger the public health or safety.
So moved.
Got a motion and a second?
Second.
All in favor of that finding that the proposed change will not endanger the public health or safety, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The second question relates to injury to the value of adjoining or abutting property. At this time, I would entertain a motion that the proposed change will not injure the value of adjoining or abutting property. Do we have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor of finding that the proposed change will not injure the value of adjoining or abutting property, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The third question we'll have to answer is whether the proposed change will be in harmony with the area in which it is located. I would entertain a motion to that effect.
Make a motion.
Okay.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor of finding that the proposed change will be in harmony with the area in which it is located, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? The last sub-question that we have to address is whether or not the proposed change would be in conformity with the land use plan, the thoroughfare plan, or any other plan officially adopted by the town council. I'll entertain a motion to that effect.
So moved.
Second motion and a second. All in favor with a finding by this council that the proposed change will be in conformity with the land use plan, thoroughfare plan, or other plan officially adopted by town council, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? We will also now need to vote on the ultimate question. I would entertain a motion and a second that this town council grant the rezoning approval to the applicant.
So moved.
Got a motion?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor of granting approval to this request, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Now, in addition to that last finding related to the land use plan and thoroughfare plan, do we need to make a consistency statement?
You can if you would like, that's part of it, is doing a plan consistency statement, that could suffice as being, that's consistent with any plans that has been passed by council, so I think that's.
So we're probably good with the way we already have addressed it. That's the way we've been handling it in the past. Okay, thank you very much again, and good luck on your renovations out there. We look forward to seeing how those take shape, and thank you again for being here.
Thank you, my pleasure.
Could you ask them when they can start?
Councilman Bond would like to know when we're gonna actually see things start.
It's a good question. As you may know, when you're working with the federal government,
You stop right there. We understand that. Thank you again. Okay, that closes our two public hearings, and now we move to the special meeting part of our agenda. The first is a proclamation proclaiming that Gun Violence Awareness Month here in the town of Edenton. I'll read that as follows, and this will be entered into the permanent records of the town of Edenton. Whereas gun violence continues to impact communities across our nation, causing loss, trauma, and hardship for victims, survivors, families, and neighborhoods. And whereas June is officially recognized nationally as Gun Violence Awareness Month, providing an opportunity to honor those lives who have been affected by gun violence and to promote safer communities. And whereas the town of Edenton recognizes the important work of the Marcus Jackson Project, which was established in memory of Marcus Snow Jackson and serves as a source of healing, support, education, and violence prevention in our community. And whereas the annual Snow Day celebration brings residents together to honor the legacy of Marcus Jackson, remember lives lost to violence, promote healing, and strengthen community unity. And whereas creating a safer community requires the collective efforts of residents, families, educators, faith leaders, community organizations, and local government. Now therefore, I, W. Hackney Jr., Mayor of the town of Edenton, North Carolina, do hereby proclaim June 2026 as Gun Violence Awareness Month in our town, and encourage all residents to honor victims and survivors of gun violence, support any efforts that promote healing and prevention, and work together to build a safer and stronger community. In witness whereof, I set my hand and seal of the town of Edenton to be affixed this 18th day of June 2026. And I will so proclaim that as mayor, and we'll enter that into the records. Next, we have consideration of the Homeland Security Grant Program that is being handed out by the North Carolina Department of Public Safety. Any approval that we would give tonight would be contingent on the town and county review. It is a joint grant that will be used primarily by law enforcement. Is that correct, Mr. Wood?
That's correct.
Okay. And if you could just give us a brief overview of that. I believe it's for rescue watercraft, which will be a very highly equipped, supersized personal watercraft, or
Yes.
jet ski. Is that correct?
That's correct. And so on the 30th of October 2025, the county's emergency manager received a award notification from the Homeland Security's grant. This grant was for a total of $20,000 and was for the purchase of a rescue watercraft. This application will be done jointly between Charlotte County's Emergency Management and the Town of Edenton Fire Department. The water rescue will be for water rescue within Edenton Bay. The new jet ski was received on June 18th and will be upfitted to help with water rescue locally and will be dispatched throughout the Northeast region. That's one of the contingencies of this grant. And I do recommend the council approve the grant agreement that was presented with the only contingency that Court and I are able to work through any corrections that the town or county attorneys may have before we sign the document.
And there's no county or town funds that will go to the purchase. Any funds expended in the future will be the maintenance and repairs.
That's right, just to house and basically service and keep it up. This is something that can be used across our district.
How many are trained in our county?
So Dwayne and the police chief and court will be working on whatever training is needed. If you remember, we've done a lot of cross training from EMS for fire, for EMS for the police department. We've also, we have one of our officers that's a part of the dive team. Since Dwayne's background's here, we're gonna let him really kind of oversee any of the training, him and the police chief, on what's required for folks to be qualified for this vehicle.
So it will work in conjunction with the dive team whenever they're called out.
As needed, And I would imagine someone from that group would be trained and vetted, just like fire, just like LED, just like EMS, that we try to get someone qualified in each of them, that way it can be dispatched accordingly. So the only upfit, Mayor, will be the unit will have that additional sled unit added to the rear to do whatever, rescue for someone who may be incapacitated. But it's large enough to safely get someone in the instance of a boat fire onto that vessel and load it up and back to shore as well. So it's kind of dual purpose, injury and knowledge.
Is upfit included in the grant award?
Yes, sir.
All right, any other questions on this? Okay, we do need action on this. I would ask for a motion that we approve the grant.
Make a motion.
Okay. Got a second? All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Okay, send that on to the town and county attorney, we'll see what they have to say. The next matter before us is a letter of intent related to the runway 1-19 paving rehabilitation out of the airport. The staff of the town and also our airport consultants are requesting that we approve and enter into this letter of intent, which will allow us to start orders with the contractor for materials. The project has already received an award letter from the federal FAA designating the funds towards this project. As I understand it, this also comes at no cost to us. And there's certain delay times that are built into some of the materials that we need for this particular rehab, including certain lighting material. And there are very extended lead times on some of these things. And Barnhill Construction, who's a contractor, is recommending that we enter into the letter of intent so that they can go ahead and move forward with getting a jump start on those lead times. Anything else you need to add?
Just at a later date, we'll come back and have the official work authorization for this project started. This will just allow them to go ahead and start making those orders for things that may be more than 16 weeks out.
Was that the big runway? The runway?
Yes.
The one.
Yes.
The big, yeah. Okay, at this time, I'd entertain a motion that we enter into this letter of intent. Do I have a motion? Okay, we got a motion and a second. All in favor of us entering into this letter of intent as it relates to runway 1-19, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed to that? Okay. Next, we've got a budget amendment. This also relates to the airport and specifically relates to T-Hangar project 36244.22.10.0. And this is a budget amendment. And again, it's not also city money, is that right?
This is part of the EDE funding from the state grant.
And it's in the amount of $15,640 for additional work needed to help mitigate an area adjacent to the hangar project. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Does anybody have any questions of Corey regarding this? Okay, there being none, I would entertain a motion that we approve the budget amendment related to the T-Hangar project that I've already designated.
So moved.
Second. All right. All in favor of us entering into the budget amendment as presented, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Okay. Next, we've got a budget amendment to recognize airport fuel cell revenues and also to recognize additional hangar rent revenues. Is that correct, Corey?
That's correct.
Okay, anything that you would like to add to that?
No, sir, but as far as the budget amendment, no, but I did want to let everyone know that this was the only budget amendment that was a year-end budget amendment to make any corrections that Virginia is presenting tonight. I'm so very proud of what the group has done. We expressed that to the department heads at the last department head meeting. For us to get to this point, not a long list of year-end budget amendments is pretty impressive. So thank you to the department heads in Virginia for staying abreast of this. And this is for underestimated revenue, so that's
And the flip side of that means we've already more revenue than we expected. When you
Yes.
say Okay,
Yes.
good. In both of those areas, county rent and also fuel sales.
That's correct.
Okay, everyone in favor, or first of all, let me seek a motion to approve this budget amendment related to the increased revenues for both the hangar rent and also the jet fuel sales. Entertain a motion to that effect, and we approve it.
So moved.
Okay, we got a motion, second?
Second.
Okay, we got a motion and second. All in favor of the budget amendment as presented, please signify by saying aye. And any opposed? Okay. Next, we'll move to the adoption of the fiscal year 25-26 budget and the budget ordinance. As Mr. Murray commented on earlier, two bills before the state legislature are causing much consternation for us as we try to prepare our budget. Corey has been working daily, probably consuming about 90% of his time trying to get a handle on these bills, and so I'm going to hand it over to you, Corey, to explain what we're doing tonight and more importantly, what we can't do tonight.
Thank you, Mayor. So, in the agenda packet, you will notice that there were two versions of a final budget for the fiscal year 26-27. At this time, council is advised by the School of Government as well as Virginia and I not to take any action on either one. As the mayor and Mr. Murray have alluded to, Senate Bill 889 was approved by the governor and signed this past Friday. Originally in that bill, the town of Edenton was removed and was not affected by the moratorium on the 2026 reevaluation amounts for certain counties. However, if we fast forward just a couple days past that, there were amendments, which are what was included in Senate Bill 474. At that time, Chowan County as well as Pamlico County were added back. There were some counties that were removed and some that didn't change in either bill. But ultimately what this does is allows us to consider one of two options. The first being if 474 is not pushed forward, then we will move forward as we had already reviewed, announced, and discussed with the annual budget recommendation that using a tax rate of 43 cents per 100. However, if 474 is to move forward, this would delay Chowan County 1 year and Edenton as well for using these values. And the alternative, which is really a 1-to-1 based on which base values we start with, council would be, I would recommend to council a tax rate of 55.5 cents. We started this just over a week ago. Virginia and I have worked with the General Assembly through multiple calls. We have had multiple calls with the governor's office. We have really kind of led the charge gathering these counties together to ask that 474 is not considered. However, 889 did continue to move forward. These budgets are no different as far as expenses goes. However, they are different with the two tax rates that would be applicable. Both of these do not include any residential, commercial increases for solid waste, no increases for dumpster, no increases for stormwater, no increases for water and sewer, but both do include an electric rate increase of approximately 8%. So right now, for us, we would need to proceed with a motion to table this, Mayor. Right now, if 474 is signed into law, we have up until the 26th of this week. That would be the time window between the 26th and the 30th. The council would have to take action on the second version. However, if that does not make it through, then we would take action on the first version that was presented sometime between the 26th and the 30th. I'll be glad to answer any questions about the budget, the two proposals that were here. Virginia and I have been working with the LGC separate from this, handling our unit assistance letter from last year to try to get all that cleaned up. And both of these budget ordinances that you see tonight reflect the recommendations that they have improved. So at this point, they're well aware of what us and about 8 other counties are facing, and all of us are kind of in the same boat until Friday.
So,
And I've got a few comments and mainly rhetorical questions, but I think we've explained it earlier as we were discussing the matter with Mr. Murray, but in effect, it's a moratorium on 9 named counties. It says you cannot base your budget on the new revaluations. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And I'm not sure that it would be a healthy or even productive conversation, and I am just stating this out of sheer frustration. We have no idea how or why this came about and why somebody thinks this is a good idea to just target 9 counties. Is that correct?
That's correct. We just were informed of 474 on the 11th. Virginia and I almost immediately started doing our due diligence on 889 and 474. That's when we started to contact these county managers for each of these counties and these town managers in those resulting counties, and they were able to have that call with us on Monday or Tuesday this past week with the governor's office. That was unsuccessful for 889, and we're continuing to be optimistic on 474.
But 889 doesn't hurt. It hurts other counties. It doesn't hurt us.
That's right.
474, but if not vetoed, would have a tremendous effect.
Yes.
and 474, or the amendment only added us and Craven, correct?
The amendment 474.
Or Pamlico, I mean.
It removed Buckham, it added Chowan, it removed Tornett, it added Pamlico, and it removed Scott from 889.
And Pamlico and Chowan are both under the watchful eye of Norm Sanderson.
Correct. That's correct.
And what has he said?
We've had a conversation with him and with Representative Goodwin's office, and 889 was finished and through, and they anticipated 474 to be the same. In conversations with both offices, they advised us that we really need to have a conversation with the governor at this point. And we looked
Yeah.
we looked at the voting counts, and those were extremely high. There was only like 1 or 2 no's across the entire Senate or House on either one of these.
Including our own representatives.
Yes.
Okay.
What,
We've got a long memory.
what about, what has our lobbyist, Bob Steinberg, said about this?
We've had those conversations with them almost immediately. Same thing, to do everything we can to get contact information from the governor's office. We kept them abreast. I talked to Bob at least 4 times within the last 10 days. It's been constant daily updates. Any rock we can turn over in Raleigh, we have done so.
But nobody can give us the why.
That's correct.
It's weird.
That's
Very
frustrating.
strange.
They said a decision Friday, is that correct?
We should, the governor would either have to sign, veto, or not sign it and let it by default following from that.
And we would need to make sure that we have enough people here for a meeting, because we're gonna have to have a vote one way or another.
That's
Like
correct.
between now and 30, between now and 30. The window's probably gonna be between Friday and the 30th, right?
I'm out of here tomorrow,
For how long?
till Sunday.
Okay, Sunday is the 28th.
That's right. So,
I'm back.
No.
so we would have to look at it. In my schedule, we leave Sunday as well for the beach, and I'm okay to come back as needed. It'd be wonderful to know early Friday or Thursday if we had to do a meeting basically just to take action on which one of these two, we are able to vote on.
And if we did that, would that fall under a 2-day notice period or an emergency notice?
At that point, I would do an emergency notice and we would do 8 hours of update. I mean, we don't have much time in any regards. If we find out Friday, make a decision Friday and then wait all the way till Monday, I think this does more.
This run out of our control.
Yeah, if the governor acts, governors typically wait till the last minute to act, but there's nothing to prevent him, it might be till tomorrow or Wednesday.
That's right, that's right.
I'm not gonna hold out hope for that, but that possibility exists. Well, we'll find some way to
And
make sure we got everybody here.
one thing to let the public know and to let this board know, we did understand what some of the intent behind these moratoriums were. However, we did try to explain to the governor's office as well as our representatives that we feel like this was an instance where one glove does not fit all hands. There are counties that have the opportunity and see the opportunity during this time to inflate values beyond what's really needed for expenses, where at that time, additional things that have been delayed may be added to a budget in the confusion of neutral tax rate calculations versus where we actually need to be. We explained to us that to the governor's office and to our representatives that we had had 3 very strong, successful years of state-funded projects that had really did a number for us for economic development enhancement, and that our numbers were a result of growth that we have witnessed here locally between residential, commercial, industrial, or commercial retail. And we shared with them that we felt that it was very unfair to group the groups that had seen that economic development support through the state, since really 2021 to get to this point, for us to present a tax cut from our current rate versus a tax increase.
What did our local representatives say in response to the position and the pickle they are putting the town in?
Both representatives tried to do anything they could at that point. I've spoke with multiple, and they indicated that it had gone too far to stop at this point.
None of them voted in favor of it. Both of them did.
Yeah.
So,
Both of them voted in favor of it.
Yeah.
I don't know how much they really did, yeah.
Like I said, I'm not sure how healthy or productive the conversation is regarding the house and the
There's
lot.
nothing we do, this is completely, something's out
At
of
least
our
the Republic
control.
know that
It's
what you just
bizarre.
said is out of our control.
Yeah, it's completely bizarre. And hopefully one day, I would hope that we'd be able to get down to the bottom of it, even if it's not in our favor. It's just very strange,
And
very
one of
strange.
the things, Mayor, we offer with this group, when I say that, most of the county managers, most city managers were on the calls that we've had. We let each of the groups know that we were talking with, that we would be glad to be a part of the roundtable to help figure this thing out and show, what we feel like the steps are forward. There's some large counties and some small counties that were impacted by this,
I mean, it needs to be one size fits all.
So my recommendation is that we do table this and know that we let the public.
You would need action in the sense of, we need a motion and a second
to
table.
So moved.
Yeah.
So we got the motion and a second from this side. All in favor of us tabling the final decision on the 25-26 budget and budget ordinance, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed to that?
And just to make sure the record is clear, so we got our dates right, that would be to table the fiscal year 26-27 budget and budget ordinance.
You want to amend the motion to do that? or-
Yes, amend that. I was
Councilman, this-
Yeah, I missed it,
yeah, it just, that was my bad, I should have called it. Yes, we amend that to reflect the 26-27 budget ordinance. The vote's still the same, all in favor of tabling, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Okay, well, just keep us up to date, as I'm sure you will, at any change, either way. And we're gonna have, no matter what the vote is, we're gonna have to come together as a body to vote again. So let's get that scheduled on a date where we know that we can have a majority of people. Okay. There being no further business of this body at this time, I will declare this meeting adjourned. And as always, thank everybody for being here.
All right.